Wow, can you believe how cool this guitar looks? It is absolutely gorgeous, absolutely stunning in every way. And you guys are always asking me what it would look like if I were to build my own custom guitar body from scratch instead of using a typical cheap kit like I normally do. And the answer to that is, it's not gonna look like this. I didn't build this, but the person who did it for about $30. So I'm going to tell you who that was and how they did it, as well as run you through some of the components that I used to build it up, and of course a sound demo coming right up. I am Dan, this is Guns and Guitars. Let's get started. Before we get too far into this build, if you're looking at this thing and you're like, man, that is a gorgeous guitar, I would absolutely love to have that guitar. You can. There's currently an eBay auction going on, link in the description. I posted it today along with this video. 100% of the proceeds from that auction will go to benefit charity. I will tell you more about that later on in the video, but just know that if you want to buy this guitar, go ahead and place a bid. So real quick, just a little bit of backstory about this project. I was chatting up with some of you viewers over on my Facebook page, and a guy reached out to me named Muxlow. He's Australian, and he builds guitars, beautiful guitars, and the more I chatted with him, the more I found out that he spends hardly any money at all on his guitar builds. It's actually very impressive. So, since you guys have been asking me how to build guitar bodies from scratch, well, I know that I probably can't do it as good as he can, especially on the budget that he uses. So instead of doing it myself, I thought it'd be of better value for you just to watch him do it. So I invited him to collaborate on this project. He filmed himself building this exact guitar body right here, and he's gonna walk you through step by step. Technically, I'm gonna walk you through step by step because he was supposed to record his voiceover for his videos and he never got that to me, and I wanted to post the project today. So, Corey, this is what you get for not sending me your VO. I did your VO for you.
My name is Muxlow. I'm the master builder at Saul Good Guitars, and I build freaking awesome guitars out of freaking nothing at all. Today, I'm going to show you how you can build a freaking awesome guitar out of basically crap wood. The first thing you gotta do is secure yourself some premium pine from the cheapest source you can find. I stole these planks of pine from a hobo. He put up a good fight, but he lost because I'm Muxlow and I build guitars. Once you have your planks of wood, you're going to want to glue them all together like this. Most people like to use wood glue, but I like to use ketchup. Now this is my own special recipe of ketchup that I make from brown sugar, apple cider vinegar, and my own blood. Then you'll stick them in these two ridiculously oversized clamps that I know you don't actually have. Once you have them glued together, I'm not going to show you how I broke them back apart so I can run them through this awesome machine I have. I don't know exactly what this machine does, but it looks freaking cool with all those wood chips flying all over my face. Anyway, I suspect I broke these pieces of wood apart so that I could stick them through one at a time in this machine. Now if you don't have a machine like this, I'm sure you can find one in your local wood shop, but I have one because I'm Muxlow. And now, with the camera placed at the most awkward spot where you can't actually see what I'm doing, I'm gonna use this precision measuring tool. Some people call it a saw, but it's not. It's for measuring center. Next, I'm gonna join these two boards back together using some kind of rabbit hole boring device. To tidy it up, I rub on some more ketchup and clamp it back together. Next, I'm gonna take my glued together planks and run them through this bandsaw, and I'm gonna fight with it quite a bit. You'll notice I'm doing this step without any eye protection, ear protection, or gloves because I have a blatant disregard for my own personal safety. Now to make the top and back, I'm going to be using this finger jointed pine shelving that I bought at my local hardware store. Now I'm going to route out the basic shape using a template and a couple of different routers with a couple of different router bits that I'm not going to show you because I'm Muxlow. Now I'm gonna take this plank and drill a bunch of holes in it. I don't exactly know why I'm doing this, but I suspect so that it's when I run it through my bandsaw later, it's so that I can maneuver it a little bit better. And look, I decided to use some safety equipment after all. Now I've got my basic shape of my guitar, and I'm ready to route out all the edges together to make them nice and smooth. Now I'm going to use another pre-made template that I have to route out my F-holes in the top. I'm going to use yet another router because I'm awesome and I have multiple routers. Now I know that I have like 5 routers laying around, but for the neck pocket, I'm using a chisel for some reason. Mostly because I'm cool and I know how to use a chisel. Now I've got a solid neck and body, it's time to route it all out so that I can make this into a hollow body. Now with an even worse camera angle, I suspect I'm drilling out a whole lot of wood from the interior of the body so that I can make this into a hollow body guitar. Now I'm gonna go clean it up with my router, make it nice and hollow in there, ready to glue on my top and backing. Okay fine, have a look at this picture, now you know what I was doing over there. Now, with my top and back clamped securely in place, I'm gonna measure and drill out where I want my control cavities to go. And if you thought that last camera angle was bad, check out this beauty. You don't have a clue what I'm doing here, but I'm doing it with a router and I look freaking awesome. Now it's time to glue it all together. You're gonna need every clamp you can find, and you're gonna need every clamp you can borrow from every one of your neighbors, and every clamp you can buy at your local hardware store. There's like 65 clamps on this sucker. With the glue all dry, using my top as my template, I'm gonna route out my pickup cavities and my neck pocket. And of course, clean it up with a chisel, cause I'm a hipster and I like to use chisels. Now I'm gonna use my router with a round over bit to smooth out the edges between the top, the back, and the sides. I included this footage right here just to make Dan jealous that I have a disc sander and a belt sander, and I know that he doesn't, so if he was doing this step, he'd be sanding with his own hands like a sucker. Now I'm gonna ship this body off to Dan so he can finish building it into an awesome guitar. I'm Corey Muxlow with Saul Goode Guitars, signing off.
Yes, and that's what that guitar looked like unfinished. And then I had him ship it to me here in the US, and I put on a few coats of tung oil, and here's what it looked like afterwards. I mean, this thing is so beautiful. That tung oil brought out so many different colors in the wood. This guitar has so much character. Now, in all seriousness, Corey's a really good sport. I really had a lot of fun working with him on this project, and he was totally good with me botching the accent and making fun of him in this video, by the way. So anyway, this body, the middle is made of pine, some kind of Australian pine, red radiated pine or whatever. It was just kind of the cheapest stuff that he could find, which is kind of cool. It might have even been reclaimed wood. I don't quote me on that. And then the top and back was made from acacia, which is, as you guys know, native to Australia, and these are finger jointed shelving boards that he got at his local hardware store. So if you live in Australia, you can pick up this beautiful wood for really cheap at your hardware store. Just look in the shelving section. Unfortunately, those of us in the US, we have something similar, but it's still made of pine. It's not made of acacia wood, so it doesn't have quite as much color in it, though it does have a lot of character. So thank you so much, Corey, for the inspiration. I'm definitely going to be trying this the exact same method that you did at some point because, man, the results are just killer. And I'm just going to have to invest in a few more tools. Now let's talk about some of this other stuff that I have installed on here. This is really just a true parts caster. It's actually more of a spare parts caster, honestly. Most of what you see here is stuff that I already had laying around that I just used to finish this build. There's only a few things that I actually spent money on. These wide range style humbuckers I got on eBay for 35 bucks. They feature Alnico 5 magnets. These are only available on eBay by a seller called Guitar Madness, and they are actually really good sounding pickups. I'm very impressed with it. I did also purchase this floating roller bridge saddle device, and that was about, I think, $14 on Amazon. Again, I'll put a link in the description, but that actually required quite a bit of work to get it to work correctly. Firstly, the bridge was just way too tall, and without wanting to shim the neck too much and have the strings way off the top there, I decided just to cut down the base of it so that it sat a little bit closer to the body. Next, the pins that hold the roller saddles in were really loose. This thing wasn't machined to very tight tolerances, obviously just made in some Chinese factory. So to fix that, I just put a couple drops of Loctite on those pins, and that was actually a really good solution. It prevents those pins from backing out and still allows the rollers to roll smoothly as they should. And then lastly, these saddles, again, machined to really loose tolerances. They were rocking back and forth inside of their cradles there, And so I ended up just shimming that up with some pieces of aluminum can, and that fixed that issue. So now I've got a half decent roller floating bridge. So if you guys are interested in that, there's a link in the description. Like I said, it's not good to go out of the box, but if you just take the time to do those few steps, it's actually of a decent value. Another thing that I installed is this Graphtec Nut piece right here, and you guys know that I'm a huge fan of Graphtec Nut pieces. If you're going to be using a tremolo at all, these are excellent for tuning stability. And then I also have these roller string trees right here that I think that I got on Amazon for around $7. And lastly, I have these Wilkinson locking tuners, and typically I'm not a locking tuner guy. I usually just go with the cheap tuners that come on my kits, but this thing didn't come with tuners, obviously, so I had to buy some. So I decided to try those Wilkinson locking tuners. They were $31, I think, and they ship from China, so it took forever to get here, but they're actually of really good quality. So if you're thinking about getting some Wilkinson locking tuners, these are not the easy lock tuners, so don't confuse them for that. These are actual locking tuners with these thumb screws here on the back that you can loosen or tighten the locking down of the string. So really smooth operation, really good tuning stability, really fine tuning adjustment. I think for $31, it's probably the best set of tuners that you're gonna get. So I'm really happy about that. Some things on this build that I didn't pay for. You guys are probably wondering where that neck came from. So this neck is, I believe it's a Stratocaster style neck, actually. Completely maple with maple fretboard. This actually came from Guitar Fetish, and no, they are not endorsing or sponsoring me yet. This actually came to me as an accident from a client who was wanting a Telecaster build, and they wanted a rosewood fretboard, so they got Guitar Fetish on the phone and purchased a rosewood fretboard, and then what showed up was another maple fretboard, so Guitar Fetish totally blew it. So then they ended up sending another rosewood fretboard, and they let me just keep this maple one. So that's why this is on there, and that's why I didn't have to pay for it. The frets on it were okay. I did end up needing to do a touch-up on it, a few hot spots around the 8 to 10 fret area, and then above the 12th fret, I just leveled and completely crowned, as I typically do, even after I level and crown the whole fretboard. You guys know that I usually tape off and then do above the 12th fret again. So I did that. This Bixby style tremolo I did have laying around from spare parts from a kit that I ended up not using it on, as well as all these electrical components. Anyway, wiring up the electronics, I did a few different tricks. I got my 3-way toggle right here for the pickup selector, master volume, master tone, and then right here I have a 3-way toggle switch that switches between in the center position. It's your normal, typical humbucker operation for both pickups. Click it down and you have just the outer coils. Click it up and you have just the inner coils. So it's kind of like coil splitting, but on steroids, because you can select which coil you want. So that's pretty cool. And then I'll show you a little bit later, but I've got a nice little push-pull pot there on the volume as well, and I will tell you what that is. But first, since I'm sick of talking about this and I feel like you guys are bored because I am bored of talking about this, let's go ahead and demo it for you. For this demo, I'm going to be recording directly into Logic Pro like I always do, using my Focusrite Scarlett USB interface. All right, let's go ahead and hear these pickups individually, just starting there with the bridge pickup, and I'm going to go ahead and just leave it in humbucker series mode for now. We'll play with that toggle switch here in a little bit. A 1, 2, a Scooby-Doo. Now let's play with this little three-way toggle switch down here, okay? The reason why I wired it that way is so that I can split the coils, and when I'm in the middle position, I still have humbucking properties with the north and the south being reverse wound and reverse polarity of each other. Same thing with the south and the north on the inner coils have reverse winding and reverse polarity. So you get noise-free operation in all three positions when you're using the middle position, both pickups at the same time. To demo this, I'll go ahead and play that first lick that I played in the intro there, and we'll just start just so you can compare kind of the humbucking series mode of just the neck pickup. All right, just the north coil. Just the south coil. For the bridge pickup coil splits, I'm going to play something a little bit different, something a little more appropriate for the bridge pickup. So here we are in series humbucker. All right, north coil only. That was cool. South coil only. And series humbucker. So yeah, a lot of extra versatility. We're gonna do both pickups together now with the different coil splitting options. So go ahead and play some of that jazz that I know you guys like. Here's together in series. Outer coils. Inner coils. So that's just a couple cool little options you got there. Just your typical humbucker obviously sounds really big and rich. The outer coils sound like your typical coil splits, and then your inner coils are just a little bit kind of warmer and rounder, I guess would be the best way I would describe it. All right, and last thing I'm going to demo for you guys is this secret push-pull pot right here. It does something really cool. So we got both pickups here together in series operation. So what does that push-pull pot do? What it does is when you're using both pickups together, you pull it, it actually routes the bridge pickup to a separate output so you can bi-amp. So obviously I'm using a different amp for the bridge pickup, which adds all that fuzz, and then the neck pickup is still going through that bluesy boutique tweed amp simulation that I was using earlier. So what I have here is my cable is actually not a typical audio cable. I'm gonna go ahead and pull the jack real quick so you can see. This is a tip ring sleeve cable. So what that does is when I pull on the pot, it reroutes. Instead of both pickups going just to the tip output, I get the bridge pickup to the ring output and the neck pickup to the bridge output. So that's pretty cool. So you can bi-amp, you can combine different amp tones. It's really awesome for recording. If you don't know if you're gonna want to use your bridge pickup or your neck pickup or both, just record them both at the same time and then figure that out later when you're mixing it down. So really cool mod. I call it the Dano sound mod. It's very similar to the Rico sound mod that you find on some Rickenbacker basses, but different because, as you can see, I only have one output jack. So, and when it's pressed down, all the audio just goes to tip. So you can use just a regular instrument cable, pull it up, and you can bi-amp it with that special stereo cable that I just showed you. Now, if you guys want to see a wiring diagram of how I wired up all these tricks and switches, that wiring diagram is available on Patreon. I know you guys always ask me for wiring diagrams for my builds, and I always say no because I plan to do videos down the road, but who knows when I'm actually going to get to those videos. I have a backlog of videos that's going to lead me into next year probably, so I don't know when I'm going to get around to doing those wiring hack tutorials. So if in the meantime you want to see how I wired this up, if you're planning a build and you think that some of these tricks would be helpful for your build, then hit me up on Patreon and check it out. If you think that this guitar sounds really dang good and looks really dang good like I do, then go ahead and place a bid on it. There's an eBay auction going on, link in the description. That's why I keep pointing down. It's not that eBay's down there, but there's a link down there. 100% of the proceeds are going to benefit charity, and I'll tell you why. As Corey and I were collaborating on this project, we found out that we actually have something in common. His son has autism and my stepsister has autism. So we thought it would be kind of cool if we auctioned off this guitar with 100% of the proceeds going to benefit autism awareness and autism research. So if you're interested in supporting a good cause and potentially winning this guitar in an auction, go ahead and place a bid down there. The only money I'm going to take from it is to cover the hard case and the shipping charges. I am donating my labor and my parts, and Corey obviously is donating his labor and his parts. And whatever you guys bid above the cost of the hard case and shipping and any applicable eBay fees will go directly to benefit autism awareness and research. Also, if you guys don't win this guitar, but you want one like it, hit up Corey Muxlow of Saul Goode Guitars. I put links to all his social media in the description. I think he's planning to start a YouTube channel. He doesn't currently have one, but check out his Facebook and his Instagram, and you can watch progress as he builds awesome guitars like these for very little money. And if you live in Australia, it's kind of a no-brainer. Just hit him up because it would be super cheap and easy for him to ship you a guitar. If you live here in the United States, it costs about $50 to ship this guitar to me, but that doesn't mean that he won't do it. So definitely check him out if you are interested in having a custom guitar body built like me, and then you can spec out all the rest of the parts. Or if you want him to build you an entire guitar, he does that as well. So check out Corey Muxlow of Saul Goode Guitars and subscribe if you want to see me take an attempt at building a guitar body like this. I'll be having a video like that sometime in the future, as well as a full tutorial, not in a terrible Australian Batman accent, but just in my typical style. So subscribe for that, and in the meantime, you can check out these other guitar building tutorials that I have. So thank you so much for watching today. I'm Dan. This is Guns of Guitars. I will see you later.